It is one of the great traditions in college football. The Clemson football team touching Howard's Rock for inspiration and luck. They will need both as they get ready to take on NC State ACC football right now. Welcome to a packed Memorial Stadium on the campus of Clemson University. The hometown Tigers coming off 2 straight wins, taking on NC State. These two teams trying to break out of a logjam in the ACC standings. And we are only 1 minute to kickoff before this fired-up crowd and what really is a crucial ball game for both football teams. And welcome to Clemson. Pam Ward joined by Mike Tomczak. Let's start with Clemson first, Mike. This is a team that's making a habit out of slow starts and fast finishes. This is really a must-win today for them.
Well, it certainly is. They won their last 2 games, but they can't fall behind their conference anymore. They had a couple early season losses. It's going to help out recruiting. It's going to help out money for the university to get to a bowl game, and it's going to help out Tommy Bowden. Most importantly.
Yeah, really, and he could use that. They were trying to become the first ACC team to start 1-4 and make a bowl game. NC State, on the other hand, has to win 2 of its last 4 to get to a bowl.
Well, they do, and they had a devastating loss, emotional loss to Miami last week, but they're playing good football right now. If they win today, it'll move them up into ACC, and it might get them a very strong bowl appearance.
Everybody looking towards the postseason. We now look to the 3rd member of our team, Dave Ryan.
Hi, Pat. Thanks so much. There are more than 80,000 fans here at Death Valley wondering what in the world is wrong with starting quarterback Charlie Whitehurst this year, coming off a brilliant 2003 season, leading his team to the Peach Bowl win over Tennessee. But this year it's been nothing but a struggle. 13 interceptions already in just 7 games, matching last year's total. We asked him yesterday what the problem is. He said, sure, sometimes balls are tipped to the line of scrimmage. Sometimes receivers are breaking off routes or dropping balls. But for the most part, it's my fault. Guy's a sign of a true leader. He's taking responsibility. He needs a big game today against NC State.
And in fact, Rhino, he said something to us yesterday I've never heard a football player say, Mike. He said, I welcome the blame, when he talked about some of the people pointing fingers at him. Chuck Amato has done a wonderful job at NC State now in his 5th season. He's taken them to bowls every season since he came over, was the defensive coordinator for many years at Florida State with Bobby Bowden, who is, of course, Tommy Bowden's daddy, as Tommy calls him, his daddy. Tommy now in his 6th season at Clemson, under a lot of fire last year. They had the strong finish, could make the Peach Bowl. They beat Tennessee, but the heat has returned again now.
Well, it always returns in an atmosphere like this. I mean, football's paramount here down in Clemson, especially Death Valley, and Coach Bowden desperately needs a win today.
NC State won the toss but deferred, so Clemson in their purple gets it first, and John Delaney, who makes a living out of touchbacks, gets one on his very first kick. Delaney does the place kicking as well as the punting for NC State. Already talked about Charlie Whitehurst. He is the son of former NFL quarterback David Whitehurst. NC State, the only ACC team he has not beaten yet as a starting quarterback.
Well, one thing about Charlie, a very confident individual, and we saw him yesterday, Pam. He's tall in stature, 6'4", 215 pounds, and this guy's got a good head on his shoulders.
Actually listed as 6'4", and he might be the only player I've ever seen who's taller than his list. I mean, he's a big boy.
He certainly is. Got a long neck, too.
Good football player. Completed 61% of his passes last year, actually 62%, down to 51 this year. One reason has been the running game has not been good. Plenty of time over the middle, and that one directed towards Curtis Bayham, but falls incomplete. Maurice Curry is Whitehurst's favorite target. His 40 catches are twice as many as the 2nd leading receiver at Clemson. Reggie Merriweather scored the winning touchdown last week in the final half-minute against Maryland. And the Tigers' struggles on offense partially traced to an inexperienced offensive line. Former walk-on Tommy Sharp, finally starting as a senior, has tenacity as well as speed at the center position and has been quite an inspiration to his teammates on both sides of the football. Whitehurst, incompletion, and that leads to the ball on the ground. The ball is loose, a fumble. NC State trying to get a turnover. They have not gotten many, and they get one right off the bat on the 2nd run from scrimmage. The 2nd play from scrimmage, Freddie Autry-Lindsay, the linebacker, able to pick it up, and you see Whitehurst explaining the exchange was not so good.
Well, these 2 guys are best friends, Tommy Sharp and Charlie Whitehurst. Very fundamental play. You can't pull out too early. I don't know who's at fault there, but I know Charlie Whitehurst type of guy will take all the blame. And, you know, what an advantage for North Carolina State. Being on the road, the emotional loss last week to Miami, here's an opportunity for them.
And the turnover story is These are the two bottom teams in the ACC as far as turnover margin. And let's see, with this takeaway, if NC State can capitalize, they're on the 20. Led by Jay Davis, their quarterback. Flag is down as Davis goes against the grain, and that one flies away from Chris Hawkins. But we'll check out the penalty marker. NC State has had trouble with penalties all season. But that one goes against the Tigers. Tom Zamorski with our Atlantic Coast Conference crew in charge today on a nice warm afternoon in South Carolina. Jay Davis has taken the reins from all-time great Philip Rivers. Coach is impressed with the way he studies the game. He had a shaky start, but has started to come on strongly now in the last 4 games. He's a junior, so he had 3 years, his redshirt freshman year, and it gives a lot of credit to Philip Rivers for helping him out.
Yeah, and their quarterback coach, Kurt Signetti, had the opportunity to work with Philip Rivers and also Jay Davis. This guy's coming along. He had to get out of the shadow, Pam. You know what that's like. Sometimes when there's a big guy in front of you. And now he's going in motion. Little direct snap opportunity here.
And the direct snap goes to T.A. McClendon, the running back, and McClendon with a lot of room in front, the first down inside the 10. Travis Pugh makes the stop, but that's a 9-yard gain. It will be 1st and goal for the Wolfpack. Just got a good look at T.A. McClendon in action with the direct snap. He's finally healthy. He had 145 yards on the ground last week against Miami. Richard Washington, the leading receiver, with 26 catches. The Wolfpack offensive line is hugely banged up. Sophomore John Holt starts at right tackle for Derek Morris. Leroy Harris out with a bad shoulder. So Luke Lathan, a freshman, gets his first ever start at center. They've taken only 13 snaps before this game, Mike.
We thought there might be an opportunity to have some problems at the center quarterback exchange for North Carolina State, but it happened for Clemson already.
And McClendon bottled up and taken down by Anthony Waters, one of the talented linebackers for Clemson. That's a 2-yard loss. Look more at that defense for Clemson. Charles Bennett and Maurice Fountain both came out of Camden High School in South Carolina and bookend the defensive line. Leroy Hill leads the linebacking corps, their steadiest player, also their leading tackler, and leads them with 7 sacks. Justin Miller is dangerous a return man as you'll ever find. His interception last week sealed the win against Maryland. With a 2-yard loss, now 2nd and goal from the 8 for the Wolfpack. And more defense, Eric Coleman. And that's another loss. They are going backwards. Coleman, a senior from Charlottesville, Virginia, with the stop.
We'll give credit to Clemson here. Eric Coleman, little power rush. Give credit to the coverage down the field. Force Jay Davis to tuck it. Smart thing by Davis there not to make a mental mistake by turning the football over or throwing an errant pass. But Clemson's defense has risen up here.
He had a nice chat with Eric Coleman, said he'd like to play some defensive end to be a speed rusher, but he showed you there that he's not a bad tackle. 3rd and goal now from the 10. They've lost 4 yards. And Davis's pass hits the hands of T.J. Williams and falls incomplete. So NC State with a golden opportunity. They had a 1st and goal from the 6, and now they have to try for a field goal.
It's a big win for Clemson's defense. This team needs a spark from somebody. The first series for Clemson's offense was disgraceful. They had a fumble, they had a bad pass the first play. You do what you're taught. You hold these guys to a field goal attempt on defense.
John Duraney, the sophomore place kicker from Fayetteville, Georgia, in to attempt a 27-yard field goal. He's 9 of 15 only on the year in field goals. And make it 10 of 16 as he knocks home the 27-yard field goal. So 3 points off the Clemson turnover. The Tigers have the ball when we return. Those kids should get extra credit for that. I love that. Pumpkinhead football just in time for Halloween. They got the tiger paws carved on the side.
That's what you call thinking outside the box.
John Duraney has been kicking them outside of end zones. He already has 1 touchback today. And for his career, he's 41 of 76 on kickoffs as far as touchbacks. Make it, oh my goodness, that one would have been out in Canada. That one was just banged out. So Duraney continues to not give people an opportunity to return, which is a good idea because Justin Miller is one of the best return men in the country.
Yeah, he's got close to 1,500 yards in his career. Averages 30 yards when he brings it out, but Duraney does his job.
Good look at Delaney, one of 10 kickers in Division 1A football to do the punting and the place kicking, and also the kickoffs.
Big target, too. 6'4", 215. I was down on the field earlier asking him what his distance is for a field goal. He said, anytime he steps on the field.
Yeah, what do you got?
Yeah. What do you need?
All right, Clemson's second possession. The first one ended up with a fumble on the center exchange. In the very second play of the game, Whitehurst zips it out, and that one is complete to Aries Curry. Marcus Hudson coming up to make the stop. As we look at the NC State defense, they have the country's second-rated defense. Manny Lawson, big-time speed and talent from his defensive end spot. Pat Thomas and Stephen Tulloch, 2 of the 5 Wolfpack players who come from Miami's Killian High School. And Devontae Edwards, well, one reason he came to NC State, wanted to play basketball, ended up doing that his first season. Now he is a full-time cornerback. And Reggie Herring in his first season as the defensive coordinator at NC State. Likes blitzes, likes to go after quarterbacks, as Whitehurst steps up on 2nd and 2 out of the shotgun. And NC State, which leads the conference in sacks, that's a big play to Curry again. Clemson, which has had hardly any big plays this year, gets a big one, 39 yards.
We got to get a jam on Curry off the line of scrimmage. He came in motion, runs free through the secondary. It's a nice, well-designed play. Knows where the vacant zone is. They went to man coverage there, which you don't play that much, but Curry does a nice job. He might not get a return on the kickoff, but when he gets the ball in open field, it's off to the races for him. And nice comeback for Charlie Whitehurst. 2 completions in a row, trying to get on a roll for himself.
Both to Curry, the ACC's leading receiver, and a flag comes down. Looks like Lawson or John McCargo, the tackle, might have jumped off sides for the Wolfpack. And again, this is a team that is penalized on average 9 times a game for 77 yards, so they're used to it.
Before the snap, offsides by contact, 72 defense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
All right, so first down, and there's our first look at Justin Miller on offense. Very talented return man, and with guys like Chancey Stuckey out, they need another big play guy, and the Clemson coaches want to use Miller, get the ball in his hands, or at least use him as a decoy.
Well, he's the real deal. You see this in college football every so often where they get a few snaps on offense. Majority of their snaps are on defense, but he's in there for one reason, to get the ball to him.
And they give it to him right away as he comes around on the sweep, the pitch sweep. And on his very first carry as a collegiate, he picks up 3 yards. And we talked to Justin yesterday, and Charlie Whitehurst said it very well. He's probably the most confident person I've ever met.
And the fans applaud it because they're getting creative on offense.
Lost a shoe.
And they're looking for a spark here, but you're going to see Clemson build on this little package. Justin Miller's not only in there to get the ball in his hands, but he's pretty good athlete. He's multi-talented. He could be a guy that gets out there in space as a receiver, but he played running back in high school, Pam, and he's a guy that said, I can get 1,500 yards easily.
Second in the country in kickoff returns, 13th in punt returns, and he had his first carry and picked up 3 yards. Whitehurst, pressure coming from behind, and he wisely throws it out of bounds. Manny Lawson with the big-time pressure. Ben Hall, his tight end, was sort of near where he threw it out, but a wise decision by Whitehurst, who, as we mentioned earlier, 13 interceptions on the season. He only had 13 all of last year.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic for him, and he's a guy that shoulders the blame very maturely. But, you know, he's going to have to be looking at number 91 and number 9. Mario Williams from the right side and Lawson from the left side. I seen something earlier, Pam. He's got to step up in the pocket just a couple more steps in order to let that rush go behind him, and he'll be able to see the field a lot better.
3rd and 2. Clemson has not done well on 3rd downs all year, but this is a 3rd and short, and they're going to pass it anyway, and the ball is caught for the first down by Dwayne Coleman, and Coleman is nudged out of bounds at the 12. Clemson in business with a 13-yard gain.
I like the call. A lot of misdirection with Miller earlier. You come back with the screenplay. You got 2 rushers off the perimeter. Williams is going to be there all day, so is Lawson. Screens, draws, and misdirection through reverses are going to nullify these defensive ends that are so stout for North Carolina State.
Mario Williams with that big pressure, but a good dump off to Coleman, so it's first down and around is Reggie Merriweather, the running back, who picks up about 5 yards. Merriweather, the sophomore from North Augusta, South Carolina. 306 yards on the season coming in. That's it. He's their leading rusher. Mike O'Kane, very familiar to NC State fans. He was their head coach and now has come back to his alma mater to be the offensive coordinator.
Very pleasant gentleman. We visited with him yesterday, and he was trying to give us a pulse on the offense, the inconsistencies, why Charlie Whitehurst is having an auspicious season. The bottom line, it's a new game today. There's better opportunities ahead for this offense.
They only averaged 99 yards a game on the ground. And Whitehurst throws it, and that is complete. But they didn't get much at all as he found Cliff Harrell, his fullback. Oliver Hoyt making the stop. They picked up a couple.
Very dangerous throw out to the flat, Pam. You know, it's one of those things, if Hoyt looks back, he's going 95 yards the other way. And Charlie Whitehurst reminds me of a guy who likes to live on the edge. You know, he takes his chances. He's a very confident individual, and he plays one play at a time. He doesn't let anything affect him. They need 7 points here, though. You know, an opportunity exists right here, a turnover. Here's a chance for these guys to put 7 points on the board.
Third down. They can get a first down if they get it to the 1, but they want 6. Whitehurst just throws it away. Good coverage by the NC State secondary.
Great coverage by the NC State secondary. They went to man coverage. They brought some heat up the middle with linebackers. The pressure's coming. They're going to bring it 90% of the time, as if these guys up here can protect the quarterback. I like to see Charlie Whitehurst get out in the perimeter when he feels the pressure, especially down in the red zone. Big plays happen because you stay alive in the pocket.
All right, our first look now at Jad Dean, who has only a couple of field goal attempts on the season.
And that's what Mike O'Kane was talking about, inconsistencies on offense, not being able to execute. You had an opportunity there. Give credit to North Carolina State's defense for bringing the heat.
71-yarder is good by Dean. Now 3 for 3 on the season. So both teams with great opportunities for touchdowns early, but both had to settle for field goals.
ESPN2's College Football Saturday, brought to you by Budweiser. Grab a cold, fresh Budweiser. It's game time. Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And Hyatt Gold Passport. Visit goldpassport.com to join and for more details.
We are on the campus of Clemson University. Jad Dean with a field goal as he gets set to kick it off for Clemson, scoring on their second possession. NC State's field goal came after Clemson fumbled the ball in the second play from scrimmage. And Dean, who is not bad with touchbacks himself, instead keeps it low. Lamont Reed with the run back, and he is tackled down around the 27 as we go down to Dave Ryan.
All right, Pat, we talked about the struggles offensively for Clemson this year, and quarterback Charlie Whitehurst. Now, maybe it was only a field goal, but what a buzz on the bench. A lot of smiles here and a very good attitude. Tremendous amount of emotion, too, in the sidelines, guys, from the crowd. This Clemson student section completely behind the Tigers, and good run game for the Tigers in that first drive. Only 36 yards last week against Maryland. Much better start on the ground in that first drive.
And Rhino, tell him he's got to step up a couple of steps in the pocket off the perimeter if you get a chance. Just yell to him a little bit. Those guys will be eating his lunch all day.
Little quarterback tip for Whitehurst, who will feel the pressure, and right up the gut, T.A. McClendon. And McClendon is a guy who has really been battling injuries the last couple of seasons, and when he is healthy, he's just a horse back there for them.
I think most of the country saw him last Saturday night against Miami. Not too many running backs can go out there and gain 145 yards of rushing against a formidable opponent like Miami, and it's been a long time since Miami's given up a 100-yard rusher.
ACC Rookie of the Year in 2002, but he had knee, hamstring injuries last year with only 600 yards total, and he's battled some injuries this season as well. Picked up 5 on first down. Oh, and he runs into Davis, and McClendon is able to get out of there. That's no gain. Anthony Waters with the stop, but just a mix-up.
It is a mix-up, and I'm sure T.A. McClendon probably thought he heard 33 instead of 32. Even numbers are usually on the right side, odd numbers on the left. And when you have confusion like this, the most important thing at the quarterback position, see, the running back has to go over top. That's a counter play. Usually the ball is handed over top. McClendon came underneath. Just a lack of communication there. Puts Clemson in a good position on third down.
Clemson defense with 30 sacks on the season, pinning back their ears a bit as Davis runs up to the line. Play off in time, and he swings it out to Darrell Blackman.
No, they didn't get it off.
Oh, they didn't get it off in time. It is a delay. Thought he beat the clock.
I put that blame on Luke Lathan. I mean, it's as much as important for the center to look at the 25-second clock as the quarterback. And Jay Davis did see the clock ticking down. He gave him that fist on the ground, snap it, snap it, snap it. Luke didn't see it.
Yeah, penalty's a problem, and remember, Luke Lathan is starting his first ever game. He's a red shirt freshman starting for Leroy Harris, who hurt his shoulder last week. Lathan had 13 snaps in his career before today's game.
This is not where you want to get your first start in this Death Valley environment.
3rd and 11. Davis with time, and that will be well short of the first down as Tremaine Billy makes the stop on Richard Washington. So the guys in purple coming up with a nice defensive stop.
And Coach Tommy Bowden talked to us yesterday how the defense and the offense need to complement one another a lot better. There was an example there, 3rd down, Clemson gets off the field, gives their offense an opportunity with pretty good field position after this punt.
And the defense has done more than its share of work for Clemson. The offense has been the major question mark as John Deraney is in for his first punt. Justin Miller, the dangerous Justin Miller, gets it at his 19. And Miller scooches up close to the 30-yard line on that punt return. So Justin Miller doing it all today, defense, special teams, and offense. We'll be back. Clemson and NC State tied up at 3 apiece. Number 1, Arise Curry, a huge weapon for Clemson.
Well, not only is he a huge weapon, he's the leading receiver in the ACC. He's got 42 catches now after his 2 catches earlier today. But this guy's a playmaker, and they have very few playmakers on this Clemson offense unless Justin Miller gets into the game.
He also is a great track star, ran a 10.22 in the 100 meters this year for the Clemson track team.
I don't know who's faster, either Curry or Miller, but Miller says he goes 4.2 in the 40.
Yeah, I don't think Miller thinks anybody can beat him. 5 receivers in for Whitehurst as he works out of an empty backfield, and there's that vaunted rush. Marcus Hudson coming in strongly from his safety spot to take down Whitehurst.
I pinned that one on Whitehurst. He's got to see that guy when they go empty set. They don't have enough protection. Here's one guy here, one guy here. I'm sorry, one guy here, one guy here that comes free. There's no protection. They're turning people loose. Charlie Whitehurst is not the kind of guy you want to see keep on getting off the ground like this. You know, that hurts. That left shoulder looks like it was driven into the ground pretty hard there.
That was a 3rd sack of the season for Hudson. NC State's 23rd as a team, and that's a 9-yard loss. They go with the empty backfield yet again, and the 5-receiver set. And they don't get the playoff in time, so they'll go back 5 more yards.
Before the snap, delay, number 6 offense, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd
Time for our
down.
first visit with Matt Weiner. Matt.
Pam, Taco Bell takes us to Evanston. Purdue on a 2-game losing streak, taking on Northwestern. This is Terrell Jordan. 14 yards. Randy Walker on the sideline for this game, and his team leads it 7-3 after the Boilers' field goal to answer.
And a huge game, obviously, that is for Northwestern. We send along our best to Randy Walker. He spent a couple of nights in the hospital as they looked after his heart. Good to know that he is on the sidelines, hoping he's taking it as easy as he can. 2nd and 24, and it's complete out to Kelvin Grant, the 2nd leading receiver on this team, picks up 10 as they start to chip away at the sack and then the penalty, driving them back.
Well, I think that sack really hurt Charlie Whitehurst. You know, he looks like he's got some pain and grimace on his face. But what he needs to do is get the ball out quick like that. Make a decision, because you only got 2 or 3 seconds before that rush is going to hit you. But these guys on the defensive side of the ball, Pam, they got their motors running early.
3rd and 13. The motors are really revving now on this down. Whitehurst keeps it on the quarterback draw, gets a nice block, and Whitehurst runs for the first down. That was Tommy Sharp, the center, his best friend, the walk-on, and boy, what a block from Sharp downfield.
Nice disguise there. They went empty set. 3 receivers here, 2 down at the bottom. As long as you have 2 high safeties, you're not going to have any problem. All you need is your center to get one of these safeties, and you're off running for a 14-yard gain. Well-designed play. They're asking Charlie Whitehurst to do a lot today. I like that call by Michael Kane.
Tommy Sharp came in as a long snapper for his freshman year and battled his way to first-team center, clearing the way for the final few yards on the 14-yard gain from Whitehurst. Why not? Go right back to the well, but a flag is down in the Clemson backfield. We're going to get a hold against the Tigers.
You know, that really upsets coaches to no avail. Anytime you have a holding call on a running play, it can't happen. These athletes are too good nowadays. I'd rather be 2nd and 12 instead of 1st and 20. We hear it all the time.
Holding, 65 offense. 10-yard penalty for previous spot. Repeat first down.
NC State and Clemson, a huge game for both teams, particularly for the Tigers. This is day 3 of 19 straight days of football. This is a dream come true, right? You got football on ESPN, ESPN2, and ABC for 19 straight days. And these teams here, both of them, especially Clemson, as we mentioned, they need to win 3 of their last 4 to get into a bowl game. Starting off 1-4 on the season. Justin Miller back in the game on offense, and another flag.
Well, they had 12 guys, they had legal substitution, but good argument here by Coach Bowden.
Illegal substitution against the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
I think Coach Bowden had a good argument there. There was a penalty called. They had 12 guys in the huddle, but before they reset the play clock, he was able to get out of there in time. That's officiating, though. They know their job as well as the coaches do.
Goodness, it's 1st and 25 now for the Tigers. Miller is split out wide to the right. 1 of 5 receivers. State showing blitz. Here they come! Whitehurst throws it away just in the nick of time as he was smothered by Pat Thomas. Man, he came quickly.
He certainly came quickly. You know, NC State's going to do this all afternoon. Sometimes they're going to sit in a 2-deep safety look, but as soon as the safety comes down, here comes a corner off the slot. The right guard turns the wrong way. They just have to do a better job communicating it because Charlie Whitehurst does not need to take any more hits, and it plays in the NC State's advantage. 1st and 25, Pam. Why not bring the heat?
And they brought it. You see Thomas's numbers are tremendous. He was 2nd team All-ACC last year, one of 3 players, or actually just 2 players in the conference on the preseason watch list for the Butkus, Lombardi, and Nagurski trophies. He is good. Dwayne Coleman now in the backfield, and boy, Whitehurst taking it, getting a couple as we take you back to Matt Weiner.
Pam, West Virginia on a 9-game Big East win streak, looking to make it 10 against Rutgers. Rasheed Marshall with a 7-0 game. In easily, and the Mountaineers have a 14-0 lead in Piscataway.
All right, West Virginia, thanks, Matt, with what should be for them a relatively easy win. Rasheed Marshall so dangerous at quarterback for them. And our quarterback here for Clemson, Charlie Whitehurst, facing what you don't want to face, quarterback Mike Tomczak, 3rd and 24.
No, they're going to go draw here. Be safe. Play action draw.
Hey, they fake the draw, then go up top for Curry, and he almost brings it in. Boy, Reese Curry got slapped down at the last second. Lamont Reed was there on the coverage, along with J.J. Jones.
Well, they have a 2-deep shell. Talking to Charlie Whitehurst, he said Curry's not the guy that can go up and get it at his highest point. You know, 5'10", 5'11", you're not used to climbing that ladder. Charlie Whitehurst had 3 receivers last year that had well over 100 catches for him, and he doesn't have the size, but he has the speed in his receivers this year.
Yep, lost 3 of their top 4 receivers. Curry is a very dangerous game breaker, as you mentioned earlier, Mike, but boy, listed at 5'11", and that's probably a stretch. Cole Chasen in for the punt. NC State good at blocking kicks, but he gets that one off and then says hello to the ground. Tremaine Hall smacked down in his tracks.
By the long snapper.
That's right, Jeff Rigsby, the long snapper, coming down and getting some heat. So Hall goes down, and NC State gets the ball in a tied-up game. And not what Clemson fans want to see. Charlie Whitehurst took a hard hit earlier, Mike, and they're looking at his left shoulder.
Well, looking at his left shoulder because he got driven into the ground. And all that pressure at 600 pounds, two guys coming on top of him with a hard surface like this grass. It could be a bruise, could be a sprain, but left shoulder, thank God.
They continue to look at him. Another direct snap to T.A. McClendon. Second time they've tried that play today, and he picks up maybe a yard.
Well, defensive coordinator for Clemson, John Levette, talked about the multiple formations that he's going to see. They go to a pod formation, which is just a center and two guards, and everyone else is split out outside the numbers. But that was direct snap. Second time they used it. But he says communication is important, alignment's even more important. And if you can do that on defense, we're going to have an opportunity to get a few turnovers today.
John Lovett, knowing very well Mo Mazzoni, the offensive coordinator at NC State, said he expected a couple of little wrinkles, and you saw a lot of motion before the play got underway. As that is complete to Richard Washington, stopped about 5 yards short of the first down. Let's go back to Matt Weiner.
All right, thanks very much, Pam. Penn State and Ohio State, no 6-4 game this week. Ted Gunn Jr. So not catching him. Untouched into the end zone. Special teams touchdown puts the Buckeyes up 7-0.
All right, Matt, and with Penn State's offense, that might be an insurmountable lead already. We saw them last week against Iowa, and they were just not good. That is good for Clemson as Leroy Hill comes in, his 8th sack of the season. Davis had no chance.
They call him Leroy Hitman Hill. He's just a pure athlete, very instinctive. Comes on a blitz, no pickup here. McClendon went the wrong way, or they had a protection call breakdown. But Leroy Hill, Nagurski watch list, Bucket's watch list. He's on everyone's watch list, and the guy that he shadows is Hoyt, middle linebacker from the other team.
So Hill, the 5th straight game in which he has sacked a quarterback. Justin Miller gets the John Duraney punt. A little shake and bake, and he takes it up to the 38. Miller broke one for a touchdown earlier this year against Wake Forest. We have an unprecedented 19 straight days of primetime football on ESPN, ESPN2, and ABC, continuing at 7 Eastern with Miami and North Carolina on ESPN2. Then on ESPN at 7:45, Auburn and Tommy Tuberville's old team, Ole Miss. College Football Saturday presented on ESPN and ESPN2. Auburn Ole Miss all available in high definition on ESPN HD. Call your cable operator, DirecTV, or the Dish Network today. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Day 3 of 19 straight days of football for all of us.
That's 2 weeks and 5 days, right?
Right? It's good.
Oh, good.
That running play didn't work very well to Dwayne Coleman as we take you down to Dave Bryant.
Well, Pam, as you and Mike mentioned, trainers for Clemson, we're looking at Charlie Whitehurst's left shoulder. It was jammed a bit when he was sacked. A lot of pressure coming from NC State's defense, but he is all right. Worked on mobility as much as he could. That's his non-throwing arm. That's the best news for Clemson, but he's okay, ready to go.
Well, let's go back and take a look. It was Pat Thomas.
Well, that kind of attributed to what happened the series before that when he was driven into the ground on his left shoulder, and I've been part of those situations before with Marcus Hudson, #1. It's just all that pressure, all that weight on that shoulder is not meant to hold up too well.
Right, Hudson got him first, and then Thomas for good measure later on as Coleman gets another carry for Clemson.
You know, last series Clemson's offense was kind of, you know, it's one of those things where there was momentum, then they lost it because they kept on going backwards, Pam. 1st and 25. What kind of play call can a coordinator call at that point in time? But they got great field position. You might see Justin Miller back in the lineup here to try to get some spark. But they have to offset these guys because they're bringing the heat.
And as the first quarter comes to a close, NC State and Clemson tied up at 3 apiece. The Tigers have it on 3rd and 5 when we return. Some of the sights and sounds here in Clemson. First quarter in the books, tied up at 3 apiece, and now a 3rd and 5 for the Tigers. Whitehurst keeps a couple of backs in to protect him, and Curry in the vicinity, but he was covered by A.J. Davis, and the Tigers have to punt.
A.J. Davis, #3. I think he could shadow Curry all day. You know, you get away with it in college. You can push guys going down the field, but once the ball's thrown, you can't have any contact, and A.J. Davis does his technique very well. I would rough him up if I was a defensive back, because he's the only big play receiver they have.
So shut down again as Tremaine Hall awaits the Cole Chasen punt. His last one was a 42-yarder.
It's been a while since we have seen this punt formation, Pam. It's a spread punt, and this is True's form spread punt.
Pressure coming up, but Chasen gets it off. All backed up to around his 12-yard line. And he goes down. Only about a 3-yard return as we return to Matt Weiner.
Hi, Pam. It's Bedlam today in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Sooners and Cowboys. Remember, OU put 52 on the Pokes last year, off and running already. It's Jason White to Mark Bradley, 5 yards. Oklahoma up 7-0 on the road.
Oklahoma with the early lead in that one, and Lee Corso, for all of our friends who watch Game Day today, Lee saying he thinks Oklahoma State can pull off an upset there. Of course, he said it in Stillwater, maybe for self-preservation's sake as much as anything else, but that's always fun when those two teams play.
Well, Lee's a smart man, and he knows how to pick the home team, especially in a hostile environment.
1st and 10 from just short of the 15 for Jay Davis, and NC State retreating, completes it to Tremaine Hall. And Hall gets about an inch or two. Remember, this NC State offensive line is patchwork to say the least. They already lost a 3-year starter. Their center, Jed Paulson, hurt his ankle against North Carolina. Then you see Derek Morris and Leroy Harris both hurt last week. And you got kids in there.
Yeah, he got a first start. He hasn't had many snaps, and Holt's been injured off and on. But the bottom line here, I think Clemson really has to take control of the offensive line, or defensive line. Going to get penetration. I look for number 76, Eric Coleman, to have a stout day.
In the first quarter, only 11 yards of offense for NC State, and it's staying right there. Let's go back to Matt Weiner.
Hi, Pam. Purdue trying to stop that 2-game losing streak in the Big Ten. Had a little trouble putting points on the board the last couple of weeks, but Kyle Orton gets him going, finds Dorian Bryant in the end zone. The Boilers back on top 10-7 in Evanston.
All right, Matt, as we take a look at our total yards here, and that Clemson defense we knew was good, but NC State is doing nothing.
Well, Clemson knew that they were going to have opportunities to go up the field with the football. A lot of man coverage. They're going to take their shots down the field. 93 yards reflected nice first quarter performance by the offense.
And that play,
NC
State calling a timeout on a 3rd and 9 now for Chuck Amato. So he will talk things over as NC State tries to get out of somewhat of a hole here at Clemson. Very young and inexperienced offensive line today for NC State.
Got a new right tackle, new center. Big 3rd down play for Clemson's defense.
Davis 3 for 3, only 8 yards before this throw. Make it 4 for 4. As he finds T.J. Williams, his tight end, and it's very close to the 1st down marker. In fact, they're going to have to measure.
T.J. Williams has to be a pivotal player for North Carolina State's offense. Davis does a nice job sitting in the pocket. They went to a 2-deep coverage. And T.J. Williams just found a void in the zone. When you got a receiver that's 6'4½", you can put it a little bit out of his reach so he can go up and get it.
Williams, 6'3", 260, a junior tight end out of Tarboro, North Carolina. And with that 1st down, 12 of his 16 catches this year have been good for 1st downs as we go back to Dave Ryan.
Talk about huge. How about gargantuan shoes to fill for Jay Davis, with Phillip Rivers, the legend, leaving NC State after a great career there off of the San Diego Chargers in the NFL. But coaches tell us that Jay really has dealt with the media well, takes charge in the huddle in a big moment, how to lead from the sidelines and stay cool under an intense pass rush, which you just saw in that great 3rd down conversion by the Wolfpack. A great teacher from Rivers. Now it's his turn. Jay Davis is taking over.
Had only 27 snaps total last year as McClendon gets it and doesn't get much. Trey Tate, with the stop as the run offense is doing nothing for NC State. But you're talking about, boy, Phillip Rivers, a terrific football player that he was. The guy started 51 games, so Jay Davis and anybody else isn't going to get a lot of PT.
Well, he's going to learn something just by watching. You know, he can go through the mental gymnastics, you know, as a backup role. But I think the bottom line, you know, it's his opportunity to shine. Phillip Rivers, in my opinion, is one of the best college quarterbacks to ever play the game. And Jay Davis has an opportunity. He's got 2 years. He's got this year and next year to prove himself. He wants to go on to bigger and better profession.
Quite an act to follow as Davis retreats, and it's intercepted. Eric Coleman is going to take it in for the Tiger touchdown. And with that score, that's the first time off turnovers that Clemson has been able to get points. Eric Coleman taking it in.
Not only did we visit with him yesterday, but we talked about it earlier, that Eric Coleman has to have a strong day. You couldn't get any stronger than that. When you get a turnover and you take it back for a touchdown, that just deflates the other team's motivation. Eric Coleman did a great job. He was taught well. He got the right assignment, right alignment by where the coordinator had him line up. Bad throw by Jay Davis.
Dean's extra point makes it 10-3 in favor of Clemson.
Something that Jay Davis is going to be taught not to do, but talk about a momentum boost for Clemson. 7 points back in the scoreboard, 10-3 lead.
ESPN2's College Football Saturday. Brought to you by NFL Sunday Ticket, only from DirecTV. Call 1-800-DIRECTV or visit your local retailer for details. And KFC. Pass the popcorn chicken tonight, only in Chicken Capital USA.
Plenty to celebrate here at Clemson as Eric Coleman has intercepted a pass and taken it in for a touchdown. 20 yards, and just like that, Clemson has taken a 10-3 lead. It's the 7th interception thrown by Jay Davis this year against only 8 touchdown passes. Dean with the kickoff and yet another touchback.
These kickers got powerful legs, and they're not letting anybody return it. It saves the bodies on their cover guys and also return guys. But back to the touchdown for a second. This play was well disguised defensively. First by Watkins giving pressure, and Eric Coleman getting out in the flat, knowing where he's supposed to be. It's one thing to throw an interception at the quarterback position, but when a defender runs it back in for a touchdown, 2 things happen. It gives momentum to this team, Clemson. And when you come out back in the field, this crowd's going to jump because interception for a touchdown allows you to have the ball back. It's going to get loud here in a second.
Nick Watkins with the pressure. Eric Coleman came to Clemson as a tight end, and he looked like a tight end with that nice catch, and then he took it into the house. Davis, after the interception, not gun shy at all, fires it to Lamar Barrett for the first down. Let's go back down to Dave Ryan.
Well, Pam, you mentioned it. We spoke with Eric Coleman yesterday, along with Justin Miller at the Clemson football facility. What did he say when we asked him, was he upset the Clemson offense wasn't producing? He said, absolutely not. There's no finger pointing whatsoever. What I've got to do is make big plays, step up, a pass rush, knock down a pass, make an interception, maybe score a touchdown. He did exactly that today, didn't he?
Hey, absolutely, Rhino. He was prescient. He knew exactly what was going to happen. He also had his thumb taped up. He told me it was a hamburger injury. He was trying to separate 2 frozen patties, and he sliced his thumb a little bit on Thursday night, but obviously it didn't affect his catching ability on that touchdown. Davis zips it out for another completion to T.J. Williams. Give him 5 yards. We give you Matt Weiner.
All right, back to Columbus, Ohio. Penn State and Ohio State. Zach Mills dinged up in that 6-4 contest last week, so it's Michael Robinson, and so far, not so good. Tyler Everett picked off. Little spinorama, 24 yards later. He scores it. 2nd pick of the game for Robinson. 2nd touchdown for Ohio State.
And both touchdowns coming not via the offense. They got a punt return for a touchdown, and now the pick for the touchdown. And boy, it is some bad doings in Happy Valley this year as McClendon spins his way for 3 yards. He'll be about 2 yards short of the first down.
The one thing that North Carolina State has done nicely coming out after that interception for a touchdown, they didn't panic. You know, Jay Davis forgot about that play. He comes back in and has 2 completions in a row. Trying to get a first down here. That would do wonders for a confidence level for him. But for this young offensive line, they need to convert on 3rd down here.
And on 3rd and 2, Chuck Amato.
They better hurry up. They're not, the play clock's going down.
They're 1 for 4 on 3rd downs. They do get it off. McClendon is stopped short initially, but twists and turns his way close to the first down marker. Great effort by T.A. McClendon. The initial contact from Ty Hill came a couple of yards short of the first down marker. Let's go back to the touchdown one more time, and finally, you know, the fans here have something to celebrate. This is the fans' eye view of Eric Coleman getting it and taking it in.
And this is the last row of the stadium right here. You go back here, you're going off about 5 stories. Go ahead, get excited. As grandma or mom and son, why not?
A lot to cheer about. Those folks getting a good view of the touchdown from Coleman. Davis spins right into trouble and throws it out of bounds as Davis met up with Donnell Clark, the sophomore from Griffin, Georgia, right there, and the pressure continues.
Yeah, 2 things that happen when you get a big play, touchdown return. Gets the defense fired up. They play with a lot more emotion, and they're getting pressure. They smell blood, and they think if they get to Jay Davis, time and time again, he'll throw the ball up to him.
Already got 1 interception off of him, and he's had to throw several more away. He's 6 of 9 now for 34 yards. And the pick, 2nd and 10. Darrell Blackman replacing McClendon in the backfield, and he goes in motion. Davis pumps it and then throws it to Brian Clark. Clark stopped about a yard or so short of the first down. Clark, a junior from Tampa, coming in with 6 catches on the season. And he goes right over to his offensive coordinator, Noel Mazzoni, who gets in his ear. Mazzoni in his 2nd season at NC State. We mentioned he knows John Lovett, his counterpart, very well. They coached on both the Ole Miss and Auburn staffs.
It's like a chess match for these 2 coaches going back and forth. But it's up to these athletes on the field to go ahead and execute. And that's where the game's won or lost, obviously.
On 3rd and 1, McClendon going for it, gets it. And boy, his 2nd and 3rd effort has been terrific so far this afternoon. Give him 8 tough yards. 3:30 Eastern today, regional action. ABC's college football doubleheader continues from the Big House, Michigan State or Michigan and Michigan. Others will see Texas, Colorado, or Florida State, Maryland. Those of you on the West Coast get to see #1 USC and Washington State at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Check the local listings for the game in your area. USC allowing only 7 points in the last 9 quarters. They just whomped up on Washington and looking to do the same against Washington State. McClendon off the pitch continues to stretch forward towards another first down as we go back to Matt Weiner.
All right, Pam, Tennessee on the road at South Carolina. Safety first, pinned back by the Gamecock punt team. Gerald Riggs gets it. He's got nowhere to go. That's 2 for the home club. Lou Holtz's team up 2-0 in the first quarter.
Trying to take out Tennessee. We got a couple of safeties in our game last week. That's it for Penn State. They got 2 safeties in their 6-4 loss to Iowa.
I like what North Carolina State's doing offensively. They have a nice tempo going, nice rhythm. Give McClendon a rest on the sideline.
And Blackman, the true freshman, getting outside. Ty Hill finally drags him down. But Darrell Blackman, as you mentioned, McClendon taking a rest on the sideline. And boy, Blackman made the most of that opportunity.
You know, one thing for these running backs, you see a guy like T.A. McClendon out there twisting, turning. You got some competition brewing. When Blackman gets his chance, he's going to try to be impressive to the coaches. Nice job by this offensive line, just washing people down. Running back has good vision back to the outside. Speed kills when you get out in the perimeter.
That's a 20-yard pickup. Blackman, a great prospect, played at Hargrave Military Academy and Virginia last season, and before coming up to State. And as a reward, they give it right back to him, and he'll pick up about 4 more. NC State and Clemson, as we join you from Death Valley on the campus of Clemson University, and a couple of field goals, and then Clemson capitalizing big time on a turnover.
It's a nice setting down here, Pam. I've never been down to Death Valley, and I had a lot of former teammates that did play for Clemson. I see one, Steve Fuller, up there in the Wall of Fame. Levon Kirkland, Donnell Wolford. A lot of tradition down here at Clemson.
Great players coming through here over the years. Blackman, boy, Noel Mazzoni calls him sort of a meat and potatoes kind of runner. He's not that big, listed at 6'2", 205, not smaller than McClendon, but at least weight-wise. But boy, he's been effective.
As a true freshman, you know what happens? McClendon comes back in the game. He got his rest. He's gonna get a few carries down here in the goal line, but Blackman is competitive. They got another running back, number 26, Bobby Washington. You'll see him in here today. You know, young talent. You get a leader like McClendon to show these guys how to do it right. This builds layers of running backs for this nice offensive ball club.
First and goal from the 3. McClendon give it back to him, and he loses a couple. As McClendon runs head-on into David Dunham.
Well, David Dunham should hit him back in the backfield. He wasn't blocked. Not accountable. Someone pulls up. What happened? The center got knocked down. He's supposed to reach up to the linebacker. Luke Lathan got tripped up, and that's what happens when you tighten your splits down in the offensive line. Sometimes feet get in the way. The guy that's not used to playing that much at the center position, it's a lot different in game than it is in practice.
And a terrific drive put together by NC State after getting a lot of nothing on their first 3 drives. Reggie Davis in the backfield. He comes out, and Davis finds him. Jay Davis to Reggie Davis, and NC State responds with a touchdown.
Well, I left Reggie Davis out of that little talk about running backs, and he's usually a 3rd down running back. Nice job by Jay Davis, coming back from an adverse situation, throwing interceptions for a touchdown, marching his team 80 yards down the field. Good awareness. You know, you can only do this by film study. Always know where your outlet is, especially down in the red zone. We talked about staying alive in the red zone, Pam, and that's what it's all about right there.
3rd catch of the year for Reggie Davis, his first touchdown, sophomore from Tallahassee. One of 4 running backs that NC State utilizes. Deraney comes in and ties up this football game, and boy, what a terrific drive after the interception for a touchdown.
And that's the nice thing about North Carolina State. They drive back down, they go ahead, take it 80 yards. Davis to Davis. We'll take it. We're all tied up down in Death Valley.
Memorial Stadium at Clemson University. Frank Howard Field seats 81,473 folks, many of them in orange, and there is Howard's Rock. It was given to him by a fan. It came from a California stone yard, and a fan transported it 3,000 miles or so here, and Frank Howard one day said, "Get it out of my office," and look what happened. A legend was born. They put it up there for good luck. First game was a comeback victory, and I believe 1966 was the year they put it up there, and players have been touching it for good luck ever since. Reese Curry with the kickoff return, and he takes it out to around the 21-yard line.
Oh, Justin Miller just jacked somebody. They're both a little woozy getting up there. The kickoff coverage knocked his mouthpiece out, helmet off. But Justin Miller, just a tremendous athlete, very instinctive, plays all positions.
And loves, if he had his druthers, Mike, he'd be out there for every play. Offense, defense, special teams, he just wants to be out there. And we talked to him yesterday, and he said he'd love to play offense, and we found out later that he was going to play offense today, so he must have been thrilled.
And there's only one guy in my mind that ever played every play in offense, defense, special teams, Charlie Bednarik from the Philadelphia Eagles, the hammer.
It's been a while as Reggie Merriweather gets that 3-yard gain. Reese Curry, as we go to our Aflac trivia question, number 1, trying to become only the 2nd player to lead the ACC in receiving yards per game. We ask you, who was the first timer to do it? Think it over, and we will have the answer coming up a little bit later in our show. Curry, boy, a fabulous receiver leading the entire conference, and having to shoulder much of the load. They lost Chancey Stuckey, who got hurt in last week's win over Maryland with a severely sprained ankle, so that's one reason why Miller is out there periodically on offense. And now they're going to go to Curry the other way as he comes all the way around from the left side to grab that pass. Did a lot of running. Picked up a few yards. Devontae Edwards making the stop.
That was an easy play to defend for North Carolina State. As soon as Curry bellied in the backfield, getting depth, the defense just loosened up. And as long as he's running sideways, he's not going to get many yards up the field. But they're trying to work him more and more into the lineup. And Mike O'Kane, the offensive coordinator for Clemson, talked about the 12 scripted plays. And we forgot to ask him what happens after that 12th play. Well, they probably just go to what's working and what Charlie Whitehurst likes.
Curry now in motion on 3rd and 4 for the Tigers. Whitehurst rolling away from the pressure, and he finds Curry for the first down. So that combination continues to click. Lamont Reed made the stop, but 4 catches and a first down for Aris. And we go back to that Aflac trivia question. Who was the only, so far, Clemson player to lead the ACC in receiving yards per game? You got to go back a few years. 1977 and 78. Jerry Butler, who is
on the wall
right here, remembered here on the Wall of Fame for his terrific career at Clemson University. Now Curry trying to at least add his name to the record books. And that pass is zipped out and complete to tight end Ben Hall. So Whitehurst starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm. That's 7 more yards. Let's take a look at the leaders in the ACC. Curry at number 1. Kelvin Johnson from Georgia Tech with that fine passing game right up there. But Curry now has caught at least 3 passes in 10 straight games. Also on the track team, we already talked about that. Just a speed burner, and it's a rare combination to get true sprinters, Mike, who have good hands on top of that.
Exactly, and I've been around a lot of receivers that are fast, but their eyes aren't as fast as their body is. It takes them a while to catch up, but I like what Clemson's doing here, Pam. They're hitting a lot of crossing routes, a little misdirection. They moved the pocket earlier in this series, and I think that's going to be their most effective weapon as far as moving the pocket. Getting Charlie Whitehurst out to the perimeter where you can see Curry out in the flat. And Michael Cain's doing a nice job. You know, and Tommy Bowden was the pioneer of this offense. You know, he brought it over with them. And this is a rarity for Clemson to huddle up. Usually they're at the line of scrimmage, but they want to control the game a lot more, and they can do it better in a huddle than they can just sitting at the line of scrimmage.
And they say NC State really doesn't give you a lot of different looks anyway, so doing it quickly doesn't do as much damage as Merriweather does damage and picks up another first down. Devontae Edwards has to come up and make the stop.
Well, both these teams are playing like it's a must-win. You know, they're matching each opponent punch for punch, tackle for tackle, throw for throw, and I think in order for one of these teams to step out, it's going to be ball security. You know, we saw an interception early. We saw a fumble by Whitehurst in the center in the first quarter. Ball security to be paramount today for these two teams.
As you take a look at Reggie Herring in his first season as a defensive coordinator at NC State. First down carry by Merriweather as he spins around and picks up about 4. Let's go back down to Dave Bryant.
Well, Pam, you mentioned Clemson players and coaches telling us the most inspirational player is center Tommy Sharp. Completely ignored by Division 1A programs out of high school growing up near Atlanta. A huge Georgia fan. Both of his parents went to school there, but the Dogs were not interested. So he came to Clemson as a walk-on. Talk about being undersized. 6 foot, 253 pounds. Learned how to long snap. Learned how to play center for the first time. Now he's up to about 270. The coaches say no one can beat him out. Great technique, great quickness, and very, very tough.
That's what you need in a center. Tough guys. Miller is in to throw the ball back to Whitehurst. So Justin Miller, the cornerback, kick returner, punt returner, now a passer. That's a 2-yard gain to Whitehurst.
Modern day Jim Thorpe. He could do it all. This guy's a heady player, Andre Maddox, that smelled that whole play out. They didn't really sell the run. He comes in motion. They pitch it to him earlier in the game. Keep on running. Keep on running. He turns back too quickly. And you got a stout defensive end, Manny Lawson. He's got to sell this run more. As soon as he turns his head around, Lawson's taught, snap it around because Whitehurst isn't going out in the flat just to take a picture.
No, I tell you, Lawson almost got a finger too, or a hand at least on the on that pass as Miller heads to the sidelines and Whitehurst does the throwing for a change, and that one is almost picked off by Lamont Reed, who got in front of Curry. And that's one thing with Curry out there. Really, Whitehurst has only seemed to be looking his way. He's gone to his tight end a little bit, but Curry is by far his favorite target.
You know, ball location is so important on third down because you have to convert. When you throw the ball behind him, you're not giving Curry an opportunity to catch the football. I think Charlie could have had a better step and throw and follow through in that play, and it would have converted a third down situation for him.
Tremaine Hall awaiting Cole Chason's third punt of the afternoon. They were stopped 3 yards short of the first down. Big punt. Hall gambles, lets it go over his head, and it just bounces into the end zone. So NC State starting from the 20 when we return.
I wish we could play in there.
Well, what are you waiting for? Come on, let's play. Not bad for a couple rookies.
Hey, where are you going?
Gotta go. See ya.
A tradition of excellence, then, now, and always.
Got ourselves a tight ball game here. NC State and Clemson tied up at 10 apiece as NC State last time had the ball, had a nice touchdown drive. Darrell Blackman picks up about 7 yards there as we head back to the studio. Matt Weiner.
All right, Pam, coming up on the Pontiac High Performance Halftime Report, the latest on the Bedlam game as Oklahoma State tries to create a little BCS Bedlam. Also a report from Gainesville on Steve Spurrier and the Gators coaching situation, plus the rest of the college football nation, including the Big Ten. It's all happening at the half.
All right, Matt, we'll see about 2 minutes and 15 seconds of playing time for now as that ball was thrown out towards Darrell Blackman, and probably was a good thing that
he stayed after it.
Yeah, yeah.
It looked like a lateral from up here, but nice job by Blackman being heady on the play. Now, I like what NC State's doing here. They're giving McClendon a nice little rest, and they're letting Blackman get in there because it's going to be the game's going to be won in the second half with a 10-10 tie. But NC State has responded. They only had 11 yards of total offense in the first quarter, and they've come back to almost get close to 86 yards, I think, in the second quarter.
They'll have 110 yards of total offense. This is a 3rd and 2, and another flag is down.
Before the snap, false start, number 80, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
So another penalty against NC State. So they go from a 3rd and 2 to a 3rd and 7.
We talked about their theme this year for the 2004 season, Pam. What is it?
Discipline. What do they not have?
Discipline.
Exactly.
These are mental pre-snap penalties. Coaches' hair get gray so quickly when they have pre-snap penalties.
So from a 3rd and 2, now a 3rd and 7 for the Wolfpack. And Davis gives it to Blackman, and Blackman picks up the 1st down. As we go back down to Dave Ryan. Dave.
Well, we talked about that theme, discipline, with Coach Chuck Amato. He says he brings in local officials to practice twice a week. All penalties are called in workouts. Coaches keep a chart of all infractions, even those not called by the practice officials, but should have been. Players are reprimanded for it, but the penalties just keep on coming. He isn't too down on his players for penalties of aggression, but holding infractions, and one false start we saw there, he calls foolish, not discipline the way Chuck Amato wants.
They have 4 games in which they've had double-digit penalties this week, including 10 this year, including 10 last week against Miami. And that ball is complete. And now they're going to say it is not a fumble. Richard Washington gets it, and the ball squirted out just as he was headed to the ground. Boy, that was close.
I don't even know how that ball got completed. Corey Grover was in the backfield well before this ball was even attempted. Knees down,
yep,
ball still in. Yeah.
Good call by the official. Of course, there's no replay in the Atlantic Coast Conference, but no worries. It wouldn't have been overturned anyway. Good call by this ACC officiating crew. And that's another 1st down for the Pack. In this direction, Davis on top, fires and completes it to TJ Williams, the tight end. So Noel Mazzoni showing a lot of that misdirection, a lot of guys in movement, in motion. 21 yards for Williams.
That's the package they went to this whole series. Bringing a receiver in motion, they're crossing routes. Williams become a big target today in crossing patterns. They clear with the tight end. They bring the split end over top through the post area, and it gives Jay Davis an opportunity to look deep to short. He's doing nice. His offensive line give him an opportunity to look down the field, take his time, and go to the 1st or 2nd primary receiver.
21 yards for Williams on that. Davis with a penalty flag down, going towards the end zone, and oh, what a catch for the touchdown, John Dunlap, but we have to check the penalty marker.
I think it's offside on defense, or else they would have stopped it. Way to lay out John Dunlap. It's coming back.
Illegal formation against the offense. They do not have 7 men on the line. 5-yard penalty.
Man, another penalty against Chuck Amato's team, and he is hot. It's our 4th penalty today, Mike.
4th penalty. Costly one. Oh, this right tackle. You got to get your numbers up to at least your helmet's got to be at the numbers level of the center. And usually they warn you first, Pam. They warn you and tell you, hey, 72 or 71, go ahead and get up there. But John Holt, now he did a nice job stepping up there.
Holt starting for Derek Morris. He's out with the ankle injury. A helmet comes to the turf as Darrell Blackman gets the carry, and boy, that, you're right, I mean, costly penalty obviously because you take away a touchdown, and John Dunlap with a terrific catch. Dunlap mostly known for his special teams work, but this was one heck of a play.
Well, he got a nice receiver coach in Doc Holliday, the Doc Holliday from Back to the Future, but here's a guy here, John Dunlap. He doesn't know it's a penalty.
But that spectacular catch wiped away. NC State takes a timeout, still tied at 10. We'll be back in 30 seconds. A terrific view for you from up top here at Memorial Stadium. They call it Death Valley at Clemson. Tough place to play. And what do you think about Chuck's choice of footwear, Mike?
Yeah. Red shoes. I mean, he's supposed to be a coach, not a fashion consultant.
Woody Hayes wear red shoes?
Nah. Well, they had red shoes one year. I think it's the year they won the national championship. But, you know, we're in an area of fashion is in. And Coach Amato is a prime example.
Known for those sunglasses. 19 straight days of primetime football on ESPN, ESPN2, and ABC continues. At 7 Eastern on ESPN2 as Miami visits North Carolina. Then on ESPN at 7:45 Eastern, Auburn and Tommy Tuberville's old team, Ole Miss. College football Saturday primetime on ESPN and ESPN2. Auburn Ole Miss also available in high definition on ESPN HD. Call your local cable operator, DirecTV, or the Dish Network today. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. And Auburn, boy, they win this game. They clinch the SEC West. So some huge, big, great football games. Day 3 of 19 straight.
Let me ask you a question, Pam. Did you like Coach Amato's shoes?
I would have to say no.
Well, my daughter would like them. They remind me of Dorothy from Wizard of Oz.
How old is your daughter?
She's 7 years young.
She's 7. Red shoes are cool.
Yes, they are. Red is in.
But Chuck, you know, he's got the look going on. He is definitely an original. On second down, Davis steps up, fires it, and completes it to Tremaine Hall. And Hall is stopped close to another first down.
Well, they have to definitely make some adjustments at halftime, Clemson. They're just tormenting this defense through the middle of the field, crossing routes. And Tremaine Hall, first pass he caught today. They have a nice game plan. They're coming in. We've got 2 catches today, I'm sorry. Nice game plan coming, crossing routes. We were in Coach Lovett's office yesterday, Pam, looking at the board. They had all crossing routes. Yes. They had at least 12 plays of all crossing routes going back and forth, and they're doing a good job executing.
And he is just short of the first down. A lot of lines on that board. Tremaine Hall, known as Tremaine Event. His teammates called him that because he makes a lot of big plays. That was a pretty big play, but it stopped just an inch or so short.
Well, 3rd and 1 here. You got a number of opportunities. Do you get the first down, stop the clock, and reset and take a shot in the end zone? I mean, 7 points here going into the locker room is big, especially when North Carolina State gets the ball coming out of the locker room. Yep. So it's up to Clemson right now to stop them here on 3rd down and force it for a field goal opportunity.
NC State converting its last 4 third down opportunities. 2 tight ends in. Reggie Davis is the tailback behind Jay Davis. Reggie caught a 5-yard touchdown pass out of the backfield earlier this quarter. And you give it to Jay Davis, quarterback sneaks it, and he easily picks up the first down.
You know, a lot of times they give credit to the quarterback for getting a first down there, but Luke Lathan, he's the guy that paves the way. His first start of the year.
Lathan 6'4", 290, a freshman, again getting the start because Leroy Harris hurt his shoulder last week. And there's a good look at Luke. But the clock is running, folks. Now down to 23 seconds. Davis going up top, looking for the score. A battle in the end zone. A lot of contact, but no flag. Richard Washington head-to-head with Ty Hill.
Well, they went to that famous Dan Marino fake spike. Go ahead and throw it, but you know, usually that play doesn't work when you're already at the line of scrimmage. When you're rallying to the line of scrimmage, the offensive line usually rallies to the line of scrimmage, but you're not going to fool anybody because they can't even see the quarterback trying to make that fake to the ground.
And there's the battle.
Again, Hill just using that sideline as a 12th defender. Non-catchable football. Good no call by the official.
And Davis on top again, zipping it towards the end zone. The receiver stumbles but catches it anyway. Dunlap again, but another flag is down. He's already had 1 touchdown called back.
That's coming back also, judging by the crowd. That's 2 for Dunlap.
Freshman can't get his first collegiate touchdown to save his life today. That's 2 they've taken away from him.
They're probably going to call legal formation again.
Illegal formation against the offense. They did not have 7 on the line. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
If I'm Chuck Amato, I want a perfect explanation of what the problem is. If my right tackle, John Holt, number 79, is not up on the ball, tell me, and I'll get in his ear. Look at the right tackle. You know, he's already in his stance. This is the ball's already been snapped, but he needs to get he's a first-time starter at right tackle. He's not filling the line of scrimmage enough.
That's John Holt again, Mike. So that's 2 touchdowns John Dunlap should have had.
I don't think you yell at the official there. I think you're getting John Holt here, or whoever the offensive line coach is.
Penalties mounting up, and now only 10 men.
Pam, it's a pre-snap penalty. I mean, these are things that you have control over. And I've heard college coaches, professional coaches always talk about, we can take care of pre-snap penalties. Obviously, North Carolina State's not doing that today.
Take a look at our key plays today. Jay Davis finding Eric Coleman, and Coleman, the former tight end, scoring the touchdown from 20 yards out. And then the Davis connection, as Jay Davis finds Reggie Davis for the 5-yard touchdown. That tied the game up at 10 apiece. Tommy Bowden, well, his team started off 1-4, and it's 1-4, but the 4 teams that they lost to, Georgia Tech, then they were on the road at Texas A&M, Florida State, and Virginia. That is a killer early schedule.
Well, it is a killer early schedule, and Tommy Bowden, the Clemson team, has not started well in the past 3 years, and it gives the administration and people around the country to say, hey, he's not getting the job done, but he seems to battle back through adversity and gets his team headed in the right direction. They got 2 victories in a row back-to-back, and here's the remaining schedule. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in this game, but they got to take care of business today before they start looking at the next 3 opponents.
Yep, have to win 3 of their last 4, including today, in order to be bowl eligible. You mentioned last year they had to win their last 4 games, including a victory over Florida State, to get bowl eligible, and then they beat Tennessee in the Peach Bowl. And Tommy Bowden, folks, was pretty much all but fired last year, and he knew it. And they're trying to make history this year by becoming the first ACC team to start out 1-4 and then get to a bowl.
Well, he's a good football coach, and he comes from a good pedigree from Daddy Bowden, but he's been through a lot of adversity.
Going up top again, Jay Davis, a lot of purple shirts there. You can see the interception coming, and Justin Miller comes up with his 2nd pick of the season.
That's not what the call was from the sideline. There was no receiver within 10 yards of the throw. Jay Davis, you know, there's no pressure. Buy some time in the pocket. You know, after that interception that he threw earlier, he's responded extremely well. He's come back, got in a good rhythm, but there's no receiver within 10 yards. Looks like he stopped his route. Look at Dunlap said, I already got 2 of them. But Brian Clark did stop his route and left his quarterback out to dry.
Dunlap was closer to the post, but Justin Miller, again, this big play kid who has played some on offense for the first time in his career this year, did that earlier in this game, coming up with his 12th career interception. Had an interception last week to seal the win against Maryland, as Whitehurst takes a knee. And boy, NC State, 2 touchdowns called back to John Dunlap because of penalties.
Yeah, if I'm Coach Amato, I'm going to be steamed, get this team ready to play in the second half. It's going to be a dogfight.
We're tied up. Pontiac High Performance Halftime Report, and Matt Weiner.
Pam, Mike, thanks very much. Jay Davis maybe a little frustrated there after a couple of touchdown passes called back, and NC State goes into the locker room tied up at 10 in death.